What is going on, New York Giant fans? Welcome back to another Roster Bubble Series video. Please hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or a video drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. Also share this out, the video series, and the channel as we're inching our way to 1.4K subscribers. And of course, that would not be possible without you guys. Thank you very much. So, another Roster Bubble Series video, as I will be doing one a day until the middle of training camp. I talk about a player that's on the cusp of being cut. I talk about their background, their competition, how they could win a spot on the roster, how they could lose a spot on the roster, and then at the end, a prediction. And these usually take about 5 to 10 minutes long. So, with that being said, today's profile is done on a familiar name. He's been with the Giants the last few years. His contract is up after this year. That is Carter Coughlin. Carter Coughlin was drafted by the Gettleman Judge regime out of Minnesota in the 7th round in 2020 and didn't get a lot of snaps, didn't get a lot of action. The high point of that year for Carter Coughlin was getting a sack on Tom Brady, and that's his only career sack to this point. So if he retires at some point or is some sort of a backup elsewhere and his career really doesn't pan out, you can say, hey, listen, you know, my only career sack, that was on Tom Brady on Monday Night Football. But anyway, back to reality and, you know, the actual focus of this video. He played 20% of the defensive snaps in 14 games for Big Blue in 2020, and he got more reps down the line as the pass rush started getting injured. Kyler Fackrell got injured. Marcus Golden was traded. Let's see, O'Shane Zimenez was out. So there was a couple of guys that, you know, were injured. I think Lorenzo Carter was among the guys that got injured and were out. So Carter Coughlin, Cam Brown, those type of guys had to fill in and really do the job. Jabal Sheard too. So he finished his rookie year with 17 tackles, a sack, 2 games started, 2 quarterback hits, and 5 pressures. You go into the next year, and the New York Giants are slowly wanting to transition him to inside linebacker. I guess the lack of depth there, and they wanted to test it out. So it didn't really culminate to much of anything. He struggled in the preseason. I remember he missed a few tackles, though he did make a few highlight plays, but also had a pass interference penalty against, I think it was a running back or tight end in coverage against the Cleveland Browns. But he played in 7 games in his sophomore year with the Giants, 6 tackles overall. He was put on injured reserve in the middle of the year and did not come back. As I said, those inside linebacker, you know, talks in terms of moving there really never culminated to anything. He played 8% of the defensive snaps in 7 games, so not much of anything. And something that I'm going to really relate to for most of this video is going to be put in tidbits right now. In 2020, his rookie year, he played 40% of the snaps on special teams in those 14 games. Played 86% of those snaps, of the special team snaps in 7 games. So you could tell where this is going. He's mostly a special teams player at this point in his career. So you move to 2022. There's still doubt in everybody's mind. Well, you know, with new guys coming in and out, is he going to make the roster? Well, he makes the roster out of camp and all that good stuff. He switches his number 2, so I guess that was try to, you know, it's kind of a switch to, I guess, a good luck switch. I don't know. But anyway, 17 games, a forced fumble, which happened in week 2, of course, if you guys remember when the kick return was happening. I believe it was Chuba Hubbard who was the kick returner or somebody else, and he just knocked it right out, and Dane Belton recovered it, and that was a good momentum switch for the Giants. They couldn't get it done offensively a couple of times in that game, but that's not the point. He also had a fumble recovery, so his first forced fumble in the NFL, his first fumble recovery in the NFL, took place on special teams in 2022. 9 total tackles, no quarterback hits, nothing like that. He played 6 snaps total in 17 games on defense, so that just shows you that the Giants, A, had a lot of priorities ahead of him, and B, I guess he didn't show much to be able to be put on defense for like starter reps and stuff like that. And, you know, it shows Tamon Fox was ahead of him. different inside linebackers like Jalen Smith and Gerard Davis. So he was, obviously at the bottom of the barrel in terms of the depth chart. And, it kind of says something at this point in his career, whether we like it or not. He's a special teams player with, obviously, if, let's just say, this guy get injured in a game, he could come in and substitute, for a couple of snaps and whatnot. But he played 85% snaps on special teams in the 17 games. So what does his competition look like? I'm going to take it from both inside and outside linebacker because he does have versatility, whether we like it or not. A little bit of inside linebacker experience from 21 and then obviously 2020. And, originally when he came out of college, he was a pass rusher. Troy Brown, inside linebacker. Haba Baldonado, outside linebacker. Cam Brown, both mostly inside linebacker, though. Deontay Johnson, inside linebacker. And the rest are outside linebackers, O'Shane Zimenez, Ellerson Smith, and Tamon Fox. So how can he win? Special teams is going to be the one that really sticks to it, in terms of Carter Coughlin making this roster and carving a path to make this roster. He forced a fumble last year that was pretty big for the Giants. Tackling on special teams, those shoestring type of tackles. The Giants haven't been good on special teams in the last few years. Now, do I know the exact problem? No. Do I assume it's maybe Thomas McGahee in the way he's scheming things? It's possible because he's one of the coaches that stayed for a while, and pretty much after Pat Shurmur left, the special teams unit just sank, and it's not been good for years. So the Giants, at least I'm going to assume, are going to look for replacements for different type of guys who they may see as problems. The other guys may, they may see as solutions or whatever. So Carter Coughlin is on the hot seat, whether we like it or not, in terms of a depth player, special teams player, and this is why we're doing a video on him, of course. And he's also not this regime's guy. And he's on the last year of his contract, which makes, him getting cut a lot more, I would say, foreseeable, if you will. So special teams, show ability to play the run. I don't know what team he's going to be on in terms of, second or third team. I would guess the third team because that's probably where him and Cam Brown are going to be. I would guess he plays, a tad inside linebacker, tad outside linebacker, but show ability to play the run. I mean, that's going to be one of the, more focused things, I guess, from the New York Giants is how many linebackers can we get? How many defensive linemen can we get that can play the run really well? Justin Ellis didn't do it last year. Jalen Smith didn't do it last year. All these guys that were brought in the last few years, really, but really counted 2021 and 2022, the run defense was horrible. So if they can, see guys in the preseason, like let's just say Troy Brown breaks out against the run, or for instance, for this video, say Carter Coughlin, he does really well against the run, setting the edge and making shoestring tackles. Try saying that 5 times fucking fast. But if he makes some shoestring tackles against the run, that could be really something for the Giants. Now, will they play him 100% of the snaps on defense because of that? No. Will he gain, an inside linebacker 2 spot because of that? No. But they will factor him in run situations where they need one or more linebackers. So show ability to play the run, display effectiveness as a blitzer and a pass rusher. I think that's where he has the most upside personally as a player on defense, not on special teams, because he did come out of college. His last year in college, I think he had 9.5 sacks with Minnesota, which is a pretty solid number. And he was, left in the dark till the 7th round, until the New York Giants drafted him. I'm like, hey, listen, this guy's got 9.5 sacks. I mean, that's not bad for a 7th round pick, but obviously, he's not culminated to a star defensive player thus far. He's not even culminated to, I would say, an O'Shane Zimenez type player because he's mostly been a special teamer, but display effectiveness as a blitzer and a pass rusher. I mean, we'll see what guys, once again, like Deontay Johnson and Troy Brown and some of these other linebackers that are coming in inside out really do with blitzing because, I mean, teams know that Wink is going to blitz in the regular season. So Wink's going to do it and see how many guys he could fit in the preseason. So we'll see what happens. And if you guys remember last year, Daniel Jones in the offense was constantly put under conflict because Wink just kept blitzing the shit out of them, and they really had no answer for it. So how can he lose? Overshadowed on special teams by competing players. He's known for kick and punt coverage. So Tamon Fox, I know, is going to be competing for a special teams role. Ellerson Smith had a blocked punt last year against the Eagles. So he's going to be competing as well. There's just going to be different guys competing. It's not just the kick returner spot. It's not just the punt return spot, but kick return coverage, punt return coverage. those spots are going to be heavily contestable in terms of like different guys. Cornerbacks, wide receivers. Jeff Smith, he's a wide receiver, but he's probably competing for a gunner position. The Giants really haven't had a good gunner in a few years since Cody Core and Antonio Hamilton, but those are some names just to throw out of the bag. Anyway, doesn't get much playing time on defense and isn't effective on limited snaps. I think the one that could possibly bite him in terms of losing, obviously the special teams part, but it hurt if he doesn't get much playing time on either the second or third team. And if he's not effective, if he's just not doing, the basic fundamentals or just really not sticking out and he's, being quiet, it's not going to help him in terms of a roster spot. But with that being said, just to recap real quickly before the prediction, how can he win? Special teams, show ability to play the run, display effectiveness as a blitzer and a pass rusher. How can he lose? Overshadowed on specials by competing players. Doesn't get much playing time on defense, isn't effective on limited snaps. So with that being said, I actually have him making the roster, surprisingly. I think the Gerard Davis injury kind of opens up a void for the New York Giants. Now, Carter Coughlin, I don't see him getting legitimate time on defense, but alongside Bobby Okereke, alongside Micah McFadden, alongside Darian Beavers, you need some special teams experience in there. And Micah McFadden, I would like to think maybe in the first part of the year too, is going to be that second linebacker next to Bobby Okereke, because Darian Beavers, as we all know, is still coming back from a season-ending injury. But those are my thoughts. That's my prediction on Carter Coughlin. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or drops. Appreciate you coming back. Peace out, guys. See you later. Stay cool.